and hone in on that. Make sure everybody knows you're the guy. That means when they think, okay, I need, for example, me mastering, Streaky's the man for mastering. That's what you want them to know. So today I'm giving you 5 things I wish I knew when I started mastering. So number 1 is stick to one thing. So the main thing is everyone wants to be a recording engineer, a mixing engineer, a mastering engineer, everything in between. And really, you're not really going to get that good at anything. If you're doing 5 things, then you're splitting your time across those 5 things. You're only going to be able to learn 20%, be 20% decent on all of them. You're never going to be 100% on one. So what you need to do is try them all when you're younger and when you start off. Give everything a go, see which one you get drawn to the most, then stick to that, hone your skills, learn everything you can about it, let everybody know that you're that guy that does that. Stick to one genre as well, so stick to one thing, one genre when you very first start, and hone in on that. Make sure everybody knows you're the guy. That means when they think, okay, I need, for example, me mastering, Streaky's the man for mastering. That's what you want them to know. Or Streaky's the mix guy, or Streaky's the recording guy. You need to use my mate Streaky because he's a mastering engineer. That's what gets you work. That's what gets you better, rather than, oh yeah, jack of all trades, Streaky, he can do anything. Yeah, send it over to him, he's fine with that. You will never build up your prices. You'll be like the car mechanic who can fix everything rather than Quick Fit who charge you a fortune for changing tyres. So number 2 is don't wait. Now everybody has procrastination. Everyone procrastinates over everything, but the problem that you're mainly going to have when you start is you've got no equipment, you've got no idea how to use the equipment, and you've decided that you're going to be a master of everything, going back to the first thing I said. So what you need to do is pick the one thing you're going to be good at. Don't wait until you've got all the right equipment. You're bound to have a laptop or a computer. You can get some software like Logic or GarageBand or whatever you want to use, and they have built-in plugins. They have everything's built in there. You can get going as quickly as you like. You don't have to wait till you've got great speakers. You can use some headphones. Use the worst headphones you've got. Use Apple headphones if you need to, but don't use it as an excuse to not get going. The sooner you get moving, the better you're going to get, the more experience you're going to get, and then you're going to start seeing what equipment you need and what you think's best. Otherwise, what you're going to do is rely on everybody else for knowledge, and you're going to take on their knowledge of what they think you should need, when really you need to find out what you need for the genre that you're in and for the one thing that you've chosen that you want to do. People out there will tell you exactly what they think you should do, but don't listen to them. Find out for yourself, and the best way to do that is to get cracking with what you've got in front of you. Don't wait for your studio to be finished. Don't wait for your speakers to arrive. Just get going with whatever you've got, because you're going to get quicker results, you're going to get more experience, and you're just going to get that flow moving. The sooner you can get the momentum going, the better. Yeah, that's number 2. Don't wait. So number 3 is once you've got some equipment and got yourself moving, my thing is that I see most people with seriously bad room setup. Now there are very simple basics. If you follow my channel, I've talked about this in great length before about speaker setup and things like that. But there are some basics for you to get right in any studio setup. And if you can't get them right for a listening environment, then go to headphones. But the basics are rectangular room if you can, facing down the longest way of the room, aka like this. Sit with your speakers in a triangular, go to my speaker video, linked above, but sit in the triangle of the speakers and try and keep as many reflective surfaces away, and get your reflection points sorted above, at the sides and at the back. That's your basic room setup. You will then be able to hear what you're doing. If you're unable to get yourself in that kind of scenario, your best bet is probably to use the speakers that you've got just to sort of get the sound going and moving. But if you want to get into detail and if you're mixing, where how things are sounding, you're probably better getting a good set of headphones rather than wasting a load of money on a room that it's never going to work. So basic room setup is what you need, but don't let that stop you from getting going, because going back to number 2, you need to get going as soon as possible. So get on the headphones, start building the room around you once you know what equipment you need for the genre and the one thing that you're going to do from the first tip. Okay, on to number 4. So number 4 is you need some discipline. When you start, you're spending ages and ages, and you're thinking to yourself, is it right, is it wrong, it doesn't sound as good as that person's track, it doesn't sound as good as this, how do I get it sounding like that, my mix doesn't sound right, when I put it in the car it wasn't right, I've sent it off to this guy, it sounds crap, this blah blah blah. You're always going to keep going and keep going and keep going because you don't really know what's right and wrong when you start. So you have to trust your instincts, but the main thing I would suggest is having some self-discipline, and the way to do that is to give yourself some fake deadlines. So these fake deadlines, you need to say, okay, I'm going to release a track once a month. If you're a producer writing a track, I'm going to release a track once a month. You tell all your friends, all your social media contacts, everybody you know, track's coming out on this date. So what that does is it sets you up. You have to get going. You have to get that track out, whatever it sounds like. And by having that false deadline, the world will come together and it will help you to get that deadline in place. Don't put that deadline off, because that's just procrastinating. That's going to stop you getting going and getting that momentum and that flow going. So you have to give yourself that date. You have to give the world that date and tell everybody out there, this is what's happening on that date. I'm going to deliver on that date, and then you will find yourself delivering. What that does is keeps the momentum going and just gets you better and better and better, because if you're working to those deadlines, you know, and your mind knows, and everything, all the things that you're doing, all your hobbies, everything, your life will be around that date, because you know you have to deliver on that date because you've told everyone that that's what you're doing. So by doing that, you're giving yourself those false deadlines, and you are going to get better and you are going to improve, and it's going to stop you procrastinating and worrying about what your room looks like and worrying about whether you should do mixing or mastering or whatever. You've just decided, I'm going to do this. So if you're a mixing engineer, you've got to find someone's track who wants it delivered by a certain date. You've got to nail it and get it done by that date. Same with being a mastering guy, same with the recording engineer. Okay, you've got the guys coming in the studio, the room's got to be ready, you've got to be set up, you've got to give them a recording at the end of the session. You then know at the end of the session you've got to have stopped sitting there talking about music and life and how great it is that you now do music for a living and blah blah and having loads of cups of tea. You've got to get it done by the end of the day so that they can walk off out of that room with a recording. So deadlines might happen on the day, in the hour. If you're a mastering engineer, someone comes in the room, you're charging by the hour, you've got a deadline to work to. So whether you're a brilliant mastering engineer or you've just started, you better hurry up and give them a result within the hour, because they're paying you by the hour. So that's another thing that's giving you a false deadline. So yeah, get cracking, give yourself some deadlines. That'll give you some discipline and really focus you in on what you need to deliver and get you better and tighter at what you're up to. Number 5 is let it go. So we all go around in circles. I still do it. I've been mastering forever, it feels like, and I still have tracks where I'll be A-Bing and I'll go on for 25 minutes, then I'm on for another 25 minutes and I still haven't got anywhere nearer. Then I've got to think to myself, okay, I've got to start again from scratch, because I just don't know where I'm going with it. So you need to be able to let go of things. So if you're producing a track and it's not working, just get it out there. If it's not working totally, bin it off, move on to the next one. Just let things go. Don't get stuck, because the problem is when you first start off, you don't know. This comes back to the deadline thing, because that stops you from, you need to let go of things. If somebody says to you, you've got to do that, you've got to think, okay, fine, it's good enough, get it out there. I mean, this happens a lot with the videos that I'm doing, because I know I've got a video to deliver in that week, so I have to think, okay, well, it's not perfect, but I've just got to let it get out there. When I first started doing YouTube, for example, if you look back to my early videos, if I'd waited until I had the right mics, the right cameras, I wouldn't be sitting here now talking to you. So it's definitely about letting it go and just not being 100% perfect. Nothing's ever perfect. And the reason why nothing's ever perfect is because you're forever developing and forever finding new things and being told, looking out for new stuff and new ideas and new tips. So you're always going to be getting better. And if you've got a track that's working over a period of a month, over that month, you will have found out loads more information. You'll then be putting that into the track that you're doing, and then that won't be finished, and on and on and on it goes. But if you're giving yourself a deadline, okay, I'll use that information on the next track that I'm doing, or the next mastering job I'm doing, or that bit of equipment, I won't use it just yet because I need to get on with this and I'll do it later. You need to just let go of things, whether that's let going of putting new equipment in your rack, let go of testing new stuff, let go of whether the mix is 100% perfect, and just trying to keep that flow going. I keep going on about the flow, but it's really important. It's momentum, it's flow, it's just keep yourself moving, letting things go, finding out from your mistakes, learning from those, and then just keep building and building and building. You're going to get better and better and better. Yeah, things are going to go wrong. Things are going to sound rubbish. Things are going to sound great, but it doesn't really matter. Just keep the flow going and don't let it stop you by waiting for equipment, waiting for your room to be right, waiting for everything, and then you're not in a flow because you've got no deadlines. You get what I'm saying? It all comes together. You just don't get stuck and bogged down with one thing because you're waiting for 100% perfection, because you're never going to get it. I never get it either, and I've been doing it for ages, and I've watched loads of people doing it, and I've sat with loads of mastering engineers and listened to what they're doing. They're all doing totally different things, totally different styles, and if I totally stopped what I was doing just to bring in their style, I'd never move forward. So yeah, definitely, you can see it in my progression of YouTube videos. They're definitely not perfect early on. They're not perfect now. We're still learning. We're changing lights. We're doing different thumbnails. We're learning. We're picking things up, doing things to try and give you more information all the time, trying to be more valuable, more interesting. I'm looking at feedback coming in. If I stopped and waited for all the feedback to come in, I just would stop, basically, because you know, everyone says things that they don't like and people say things they do like. So yeah, that's it really. They're my top 5 tips for anybody that's getting going, and also for people that are going and need to just carry on and keep these things in mind, just to keep the flow going and keep that momentum, so that you can just get better and better and better and not let these things hold you back, because ultimately they'll stop you and they'll put barriers up for you to stop moving forward. So I hope these have been really helpful. If you haven't subscribed to my videos, please do that. Make sure you like this. Give me any comments on these 5 top tips. I'd really love to hear your feedback. It helps me develop and get better too. So yeah, any comments you've got, please go to streaky.com, sign up for my newsletter. It's the Audio Anoraks newsletter. I give out tips and tricks on things that I can't do in the videos on YouTube. I can only do so much here. I do giveaways for equipment that I get given, and also get loads of discounts from different people. So if you want anything discounted, then let me know as well in the comments and I'll see if I can do that. And then that goes out to the Audio Anoraks little gang that we've got. So yeah, go there to streaky.com, sign up. Whew, that's enough from me. Till next time, bye.